Hello, everybody, and welcome to Theater Time with Doug Bergstein. And I'm not Doug Bergstein, but I am Ruth Ann Petty, filling in for Doug today. And today we are talking with some of the members of the cast and the director for the upcoming Valley Players production of As You Like It by William Shakespeare. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. And first, I'd like to say that our show is going to open on Thursday, June 26th, and we run Thursday through Sunday through July 13th. There's no show on July 4th, and the evening shows are at 7:30, and the Sunday matinees are at 2 p.m., and tickets are plentiful and available. So if you like what you hear today, please buy some tickets and come see us. Okay, first of all, I'm going to ask my guests here to introduce themselves. And let's start with Susan and Marcy. Who are you people?
I am Marcy Robinson. I am from Warren. I have been in many Valley Players productions in the past few years since I started doing this. However, this is my first time doing Shakespeare anywhere, and I will be playing a couple parts, the role of the one of the ladies of the court for the Duchess in the beginning, and then transforming into Audrey toward the end.
And who's Audrey? She's a shepherdess?
She's a goat herd.
A goat herd. Okay.
I will not be yodeling, however,
Aw.
Mm.
unless Jeannie wants me to.
Oh, what if that's an idea?
Ooh.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Lloyd, and I've also been in a bunch of productions and excited to bring Shakespeare here to the Valley, so that's fun. And I'll be playing the part of Touchstone, who is one of the fools, some would say typecasting, and I'm from Faceted. So, hi, everybody.
Hi. All right, Fred, could you introduce yourself?
My name is Fred Patchen, and I am playing the role of Jaques, who is a melancholic and cynical character. He just cannot seem to cheer up, and he embraces a life of contemplation and criticism, in the forest of Arden, and is a faithful lord to Duke Senior. They're kind of like brothers. They fight and they can't separate themselves from each other. There's always that friction. And it seems like a lot of the times the character is trying to talk other people out of getting married or falling in love and entanglements. It's my first show with Valley Players, and it's just been an absolute delight.
But you are an experienced actor, yes?
Yes, I've done. I moved to Vermont 6 years ago, and I did a lot of theater in Dallas, Texas, when I was living there. But that was 16 plus years ago, and I didn't get back into theater until just about this time last year.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, Jeannie.
Well, hi, I'm Jeannie Beckwith, and I'm directing this show. This is not my first time directing at Valley Players. I did On Golden Pond, Enchanted April. We did I'm stammering here. I've been involved in Ten Fest for a number of since it began.
Right.
And I've helped out with other shows. I am a playwright as well as a director, and Valley Players has done me the honor. We've had a couple of my shows done here.
Most recently, Wake Up Gloucester.
Wake Up
just
Gloucester.
This past winter. Yeah. I can't tell you, it's a thrill for us to be able to work with a playwright on stuff like that. So thank you. That's been really terrific.
It was
all right.
Happy time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would add.
Oh, please.
I would add one little thing in that Jaques is also a very funny character. And Fred is playing him beautifully.
Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit more on that sort of dark comedy that's happening in this play? Because most people think of it as a romance or a comedy-ish, but there's some philosophizing going on.
You mean me and the character Jaques?
Sure.
Jaques is he's quite a what the English say, quite a wag. He's such a
Yes.
wit. And he knows how to cut people down. He's one of those characters that can cut to the quick, basically. And it's very funny a lot of the times. And I think a lot of the times, while he is very contemplative, uh, his humor also, I mean, that's what comedy is, largely is the darkness in our lives. And we're
Mm,
trying to find the, the yin yang of that
sure.
and it all works together. So I
Right.
think he embodies that very much. And at the same time, while he does have some sad things about him, I really think he even has his own enlightenment and epiphanies, even towards the very end.
Hmm.
Yes.
I,
And
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
I was just going to say audiences will know your character the moment they hear the famous line that has become ingrained in uh, our culture. You want to just give us the first two lines of that speech, and then people will recognize it.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
It's so true. Thank you.
You bet.
Susan, tell us a little bit about the comedy that's coming from your character. It's different from Jacques, right? But it's
Yeah.
not.
I was doing a little research, and I think Jeannie, you and I were talking about this, that Shakespeare often had a melancholy clown and more of a comedic clown.
Yeah.
So I think I'm the I don't want to say antidote, but a little different than Jacques in that I'm intentionally trying to be funny, uh, and also as Jeannie and I have been talking about, there's a vulnerability there. There's it's sort of a nuanced character in that, you're wearing goofy clothes and you're hopping around the stage, but at the same time, Touchstone wants love just like anybody else. And the character, I believe, was written as an offset to the heavy, saccharine, sappy love that the other couples are
Mm,
experiencing. So it's kind of a more I don't want to say cynical, but less romantic approach to coupling. And that makes it fun to kind of play with, because does he really love this person, or is he just, being lustful? Is
mm.
this a marriage of convenience, or is he really a sensitive clown that wants to be understood? And it's sort of a little of both, I think.
Yeah, and we should point out to the audience that Marcy happens to play the love interest for Touchstone. So, what do you think Audrey's approach to this romance is? Is she kind?
I think it's 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 a little of both as well. I think she's
No,
looking to get ahead, uh, rise above a little bit, maybe from goat herd to someone who was in the court and kind of
right.
become a woman of the world, as they say. And but I think also genuinely has feelings for Touchstone. They get along.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of those
And
quirky
we
relationships.
I should elaborate for the audience here that the premise of the play happens very much in the beginning, where some courtiers are expelled from court because a different monarch is taking over, and Touchstone is one of the people who's expelled to because of the loyalty to the monarch that's being exiled. So there's a lot of action in the forest of Arden, which is focuses for most of the play as the set. And there's lots of different locales within the forest where people are meeting and buying houses and running away and killing deer and a lot of interesting things like that. Great. What else should we talk about? Jeannie, are are you okay with you had little action there in your house?
My
Yeah.
dog.
The dog. um tell me, what do you think this play is trying to tell us here in 2025? It was written in 1599 or something like that, right?
425 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, 1600. Yeah.
No one's sure exactly
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
of the exact date, but that's what most scholars agree.
Yes,
And but the characters, no one's going to have any problem relating to any of these
right.
characters. And part of that is because Shakespeare in his comedies did use stock characters.
Hmm.
All of these characters are from the Commedia dell'arte. They all appear in earlier forms and have been around since ancient Greece.
Hmm.
There's uh, the the um, the scholar who is full of himself,
Hmm.
and yet sort of, yet serious and funny. There's the clown, there are the young lovers, all the different, there's the shepherdess. There were always characters who were, um, I guess, the common folk. The
Right.
story, I think one reason, so we will find all of these characters is very recognizable. And it's also the story of this plot is especially for today. You have a I'm sorry, can you hear the dog
No,
alarm?
no, you're
Oh,
fine.
okay.
She's
Um,
fine.
it's just me. I I apologize to the listening audience at home. I guess the watching audience. Okay. There's a leader, a good, kind leader who has
Mhm.
been expelled by a usurping um, leader who is not kind and not
Mhm.
good, and is abusing the people,
Mm.
and um, people run away and they go to the forest to find a simpler life.
Mhm.
It's
Like
like all the
fun.
people who came to Vermont in the 70s. It's
Or
I think
during the pandemic.
Or
Or just
yesterday. I don't
or
know.
yesterday.
Um, and it's about honor, it's about love, it's about telling the truth,
Mm.
uh, speaking the truth to power.
Yeah.
It talks about animal cruelty.
Mm.
There
Yeah.
are many things going on in the play, and it is funny. Uh, and but at the same time, it's serious. All of Shakespeare's
Yeah.
comedies have very serious elements to them. He's taking a stand-up view of things that, if we didn't laugh at them, we might be crying.
Right. Yeah, I agree. They're complex.
Yeah,
And it's not a musical, but
there will be
there
music.
will be music and dancing. So
Yes, yes.
and it's funny how just the other night at rehearsal we were talking about how it's so arbitrary, but someone said, "Oh, he just threw those dance numbers in there to make sure the audience was still awake." But hopefully we won't have that problem at our performances.
Well, I think
And
we were talking the other night, one of the things about Shakespeare, there are these interludes, like the scene
mm,
that Fred was talking about. There are the audience, there was no intermission in
right.
Shakespeare's time. It was a party. There were people leaning on the stage. I mean, if you've seen Shakespeare in Love, that from
Mm,
everything we can tell from the records we do have, that is what it was like. And they just plowed through it. And sometimes they had to go, off stage for a couple of minutes, or people wanted to buy a beer. They were so you have to understand that about the
mhm,
plays. Even the tragedies will
mm.
have these little weird moments in it where you think, well, why are they doing that?
Give the
And
audience a break. Yeah. Well, we will have an intermission, so
yes,
our audience can hopefully wait for that time. Um, let's see. I'm kind of curious, Fred, if you have any. I know you said you just recently came back into doing theater, but do you have any past roles that you've played that you thought were really terrific and your favorites? I'm just curious.
Um,
And is this a bucket list role for you?
I would I would say the one that I played a little over a year ago, which got me started back in theater, was Dale Harding in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Oh,
Nest.
of course. Yeah.
There was a lot of me in that character,
Hmm.
particularly in my high school days when it was special. I could get into a whole spiel about that basically, but it was very special to me because it was just a whole lot of positive feedback from the
Mm,
people, and I didn't know if I still had anything to
mm,
offer, but
mm.
I did, and I've become the greatest thing about theater for me is we don't do it for the money because there's no money to
Because
be
we don't
made,
get paid.
but the communities that you create and the
Yeah.
social networks. And I mean, that blossomed for me when I did that show. I I also did one of the bake-offs at Vermont
Mm,
Stage. That was a
mhm.
lot of fun, but that was also a big learning experience because I we had less than 2 weeks to learn 20 pages of dialogue, and I just
Wow.
wanted to see if I could do it.
Hmm.
I could, but I think I must have lost about 5 pounds in the process, Uh, and I mean, it continually is like that. Uh, Theater to me, it's constantly teaching me new things.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would say those are two of the more recent ones uh, I've enjoyed.
Great. Yeah, it's definitely a very special community in Vermont of community theater because that's what we're doing, right? And I wondered, Marcy and Susan, you keep on coming back for more. What brings you back to community theater on a regular basis?
Well, as I said in my story at the Story Slam this
Mm,
spring, I have found my people and my
yeah.
friends and my community. And this is what gets me through the tough times and the dark, long, cold winters
Yeah.
of having things to do and just meeting people who accept me for who I am and my acting for what it is, since I am just walking off the street without any formal training, and but I love it.
Great.
Yeah, I would echo that a bit. I would say I first started doing this because my job was really stressful and I thought
Mm,
it would be a lark to do something that was just fun and freeing, and meeting folks like Marcy, and we've taken some stand-up classes and improv and
yeah.
done other theatrical things together, and it's been really, really fun creating that community, and each show has its own unique community. It's really
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
See somebody like I'll hear a song on the radio that was in a musical that I did, and I immediately start thinking about the folks that were in that cast with me. It's wild because there's an intimacy there when you get to meet these people and form that community together. And Fred and I met in a show, and I was like, "You're my new friend. I'm not letting you go."
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, this is a big cast too. So I feel you when you talk about the sense of community, and I feel like in a show like this, when there's a lot of separation, like sometimes people are not even on stage at the same time ever in the show, a few people. So it's kind of hard to start forming that community. So we're gonna hopefully start doing that now that we're going into our tech rehearsal weeks and that kind of thing. What do you think, Jeannie? What keeps you coming back to the director's podium, so to speak?
Um, I, it is just so much a part of my life and a part of my identity. Um, I acted for a lot. I acted a lot when I was
I've
younger.
directed you
I know. Oh,
once.
um, but before uh, I started directing when I was went back to graduate school when I was 40 years old, and that's when I had directed a couple of little things. But I find that directing offers I get a lot of joy out of watching people find themselves.
Mm.
I don't know if people who I've directed before. I'm different from a lot of well, from some directors, and I'm not. I am. I have my own style, and that kind of
Mm.
evolved over the years. And I'm happy with the result.
Well, we're pretty happy to have you too. So,
It's
and we
it's joy.
yeah, we only have a couple of minutes more, but I wanted to just point out or ask Susan about um, how this came to be, because we have never at the Valley Players done Shakespeare before in our 46-year history. And I think you were the instigator of this, Susan.
I basically strong-armed Jeannie is what happened. So Jeannie has done Shakespeare for many years at Unadilla.
Yeah.
And I was in a couple of those productions, and I was thinking, man, it'd be really fun to bring this to the Valley Players. And so we started talking a while ago, right? Like a year or so ago,
Yeah.
Jeannie.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out which slot, we were going to do it in the fall, and then we moved it to spring. But Jeannie was a trooper. I remember her saying, like, I don't want to lose my whole summer. I'm like, you won't. It'll be fine.
You'll be done on
Totally
July
crushed.
13th. Oh, that's halfway
It'll be
through.
fine. Oh, wait. It's half your summer. It's 5 minutes. Come on, stop being so selfish. No, she was a really good sport, to come and do this with us. And I think it's amazing I think it's surprising that in 46 years we have not done
Yeah.
Shakespeare. So
Yeah,
this is
that's
a big
amazing.
deal. This is a really big deal for us, and I hope that we'll have other opportunities to
Yeah,
do
and
Shakespeare.
I hope that I hope and I am sure that our community will attend and embrace it. Right, folks out there in TV land? All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up our little talk here today by reminding people that As You Like It opens at the Valley Players Theater down on Main Street in Waitsfield on June 26th and runs through July 13th. We have no show on July 4th, and the evening performances Thursday through Saturday are at 7:30, and the Sunday matinees are at 4 p.m. Did I say 2 earlier? I might have. It's 4 p.m. It's 4 p.m., folks. Don't come at 2 o'clock.
I was sitting thinking, did I have it wrong?
No, I had it wrong, but it's really 4 o'clock on Sundays, and you can get tickets in advance by going to valleyplayers.com, and we'll hope to see you at the show. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate you.